Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Throughout 2024, there was one key metric that kept coming up again and again and again, and this particular metric, Bollinger Bands, when it had signaled, even from that point from a historical perspective, that meant XRP was about to go. Well, I am here telling you today it is happening yet again. This is not done, folks. We are in a bull market still. XRP has not yet entered price discovery and has not done so in over 7 years, but it's going to. And it only has the chance to do this once every 4 years because XRP only performs when the rest of the market is going. We missed it last cycle. I mean, yes, XRP moved in tandem with the market, but it was artificially suppressed because of the SEC BS lawsuit, obviously. So this right now, this moment in time, this was our next chance. And we already did get a new all-time high, but it's not done yet. We haven't had alt season yet. This won't be the first bull market where we don't have an alt season, folks. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 4:26 p.m. Central Time. And it's Sunday, June 15th, 2025. XRP is $2.15. Bitcoin's at $104,850. So mostly just moving sideways, but we will not stay here forever. Here's a post from chart analyst Kaleo sharing some conviction. He simply said, "Still believe this dip is a gift for anyone with a hint of bullish conviction. Too many catalysts lining up not to go higher from here." Okay, I must say in a general sense, I agree with that. There are far too many metrics. There's far too much historic precedent for me to think it's probable that everything's over. I just don't believe that. I don't think there's a big chance for that at all. I think it's almost certain, almost 100% chance that we're going to have a final parabolic move before capping off this market cycle. And you know what the cool thing is? Like the worst thing, like worst case scenario, if that's not true, all I have to do, like I'm just thinking about myself, and I hope you guys have thought through this too, what this would mean for you. Like say we enter a bear market. For me, I don't freak out because it's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess this time really was different. I'll just continue to hold and do nothing. And then eventually the market rebounds, and then I win anyway. Being patient is the way to win. So either this is, you don't need to have stress worrying about this regardless. I think it's a virtual certainty we move to the upside. Nobody can know for sure, but that's why I'm saying, even if we did tank and we actually entered a bear market, that would suck, be a little disappointing. Life goes on. Everything's fine. The crypto market's just going to get bigger and bigger. But again, I don't believe that's the probable outcome here. Too many things are lining up. I'm totally with them on this. So Bollinger Bands, let's talk a little bit about this. Here's a post that I shared over a year ago. This is from April 16th, 2024, from Charting Guy, XRP USD chart here. And he's talking about Bollinger Bands and how they're getting tight. So you can see these blue lines, the upper one and the lower one here. See how close they got here? That's the tightening of the Bollinger Bands. And then as price went up, expansion occurs, and then it loosens. And you can see during bull markets, they tightened. Happened in 2017, massive run obviously. Happened even last cycle in 2020. Despite the SEC lawsuit, they didn't become the tightest in history, but they did. If you got one eyeball, you can look at this and be like, wow, okay, yes. Then it opened up, and then it just tightened again. And again, this is as of April of last year. And so Charting Guy in April of last year wrote, XRP monthly Bollinger Bands are now the tightest they've ever been in history. 0.7 for the width. The tightest it got before this was 0.73 in 2017. 1 month before, and then he's got the little rocket emoji there, and then he sarcastically says, probably nothing. Well, it meant something. Now, it didn't mean that we were going to see the blast off that day. And in fact, what we saw was that for the next close to half a year, those Bollinger Bands, they just got tighter and tighter. I mean, we were talking about this into September and October. Here's one more. I didn't pull up, I could have pulled up an endless quantity of examples from tons of analysts talking about this. Here's one more from Charting Guy. This one happens to be in July, but he said, this is a chart of the XRP monthly Bollinger Bands width. The Bollinger Bands continues to tighten. Back in April, the width broke the 2017 low level of 73 and was at 70. Today, A few months later, it is at 65. And folks, it got even tighter after that. And so that's why I was talking about this throughout the year. We didn't know for sure when the break would be. As the election got closer in the months leading up to that, I highlighted that there is historic precedent indicating that after elections, a lot of the time that's when markets kind of open up. So there was a lot of speculation, including for me, that that might be when indeed that would happen. And it was. It ended up being the case. But still, you could see that it was coming. And yes, you had to wait a little while still. But I'm here to tell you today that we're in another one of those moments. Look at this. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph is Crypto. And you can see Bollinger Bands tightened yet again. So fine, a little bit tighter in November, but we're still in a bull run. So the fact that it even got this tight again is pretty badass as far as I'm concerned. But look what happened leading up to the election. Then it opened up here and it just got tight again because XRP has been consolidating for close to half a year at this point after hitting the new all-time high in January. And so he wrote here, XRP Ballinger Bands at extreme tight range, huge move loading. Now, it is true that Bollinger Bands tightening, that indicator in and of itself doesn't tell you if this thing's going to break to the upside or downside. It just tells you there's going to be a break at some point, right? But I'll tell you the same thing I said in 2024. My belief is that what is most probable is when this thing breaks, it's going to be to the upside and not the downside because we're still in a bull market. So even if we, in the short term, do have a move to the downside, which I acknowledge is possible, there are so many analysts talking about that I acknowledge could happen. You could see XRP get close to $2 or break below that. Some even think you could see a wick down to like $1.60 or so, very, very temporarily. Okay, maybe that happens, but it doesn't change what happens big picture for XRP, even if that occurs. And that's not a guarantee. But is it not exciting to see this happening yet again while we're in a bull market? It just seems so obvious that the most likely thing is that when this breaks, it will be to the upside. How about some more information to back that up? Well, here's a post from on-chain analytics firm Glassnode. They wrote, XRP is pulling ahead again. Its 30-day percent change in realized cap just hit 4.2%, outpacing Solana's modest 1%. Capital is rotating faster into XRP, hinting at stronger short-term conviction. Okay, now I found that fascinating because I've been wondering, since there have been a lot of analysts in recent days saying it's possible, not guaranteed, but I've been highlighting in recent days, possible XRP does get closer to that $2 level for that final breakdown. And now if that happens, to be clear, that probably means that Bitcoin led the way, and so maybe it gets into the upper 90,000s, mid 90,000s, something like that. So it would be a market-wide move anyway. It wouldn't mean there's something wrong with XRP specifically here. But it's not a guarantee that that happens. It's just that these are the types of moments in chart formations that occur, that when they occur, you can expect, potentially anyway, a move like that. Here's a post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. The Guardian Arch, $20 to $27, updated chart. The 9 SMA on the monthly time frame is signaling the last leg or the beginning of the bearish trend. Despite all the geopolitical shifts and uncertainties, the 9 SMA is holding strong like a boss, proving its resilience. Again and again and again, in July, we shall fly so high. And so, look, he's been beating this drum, and I hope he's right. He certainly could be. There's a lot of confluence for various metrics that indicate that this actually could happen. But he has been saying that there's a really good chance we get double-digit price action much sooner than later, specifically July. And there's historic precedent for us having in the fourth year of a bull cycle, which is a fourth year of a market cycle, which is what we're in right now. There's precedent indicating that in summer you actually do see hot price action, whereas in other years outside of that fourth year, normally price action in the summer, it's pretty lame. There's less volatility, moves sideways. Might not be the case this year if history is to rhyme with itself. So that'd be exciting. Just got to wait a little bit longer and we'll see. Here's a post from CryptoBaste, and this is a very well-known, large XRP holder within the XRP community. And he's charted what's on your screen right here, sharing his conviction. And he wrote, XRP top is not in yet. My minimum target is $8. The SEC ruled that XRP, that it's not a security, and I don't think the market fully priced that in yet. XRP holders are about to make a lot of money. Okay, I feel slightly different. I think that the market is pretty well aware of this, as indicated by when you get news having to do with like the Ripple lawsuit, XRP price barely budges, even if it's to the negative. You see like a few percentage points drop briefly, and then it just kind of recovers. So that tells me like the market gets it already. Now I do acknowledge if you are in a moment of exuberance, you could get positive news having to do with Ripple, even if it doesn't specifically impact XRP, and XRP could take off. But I think that it is pretty well priced in. What I would say, and I think that this is more telling, just my humble opinion, is that frankly, the price of XRP, it's still artificially suppressed. Like, so yes, it's true. XRP's got legal clarity. The world is healing, but you can't do that at the snap of a finger. It takes some time. And I believe had there not been a lawsuit that today, yeah, XRP still would have performed very well this cycle, but the price would be a lot higher today than it is now. Because there's no way of knowing the number of investors that didn't get in for nearly half a decade because of the SEC crap, and they didn't all just magically get in at the flip of a switch. Now, a lot have, obviously, and it's going the right way. The world's healing, but it takes years to fix that, actually. So I would say it's impacted. I just think for the people that are here right now, I think that pretty much 100% of market participants do get this, actually. So my 2 cents anyway. Here's a post from chart analyst Zoom. He says, once XRP breaks through the red zone on XRP BTC, it rips to the upside. And so think about that. If XRP gets up to this orange box, and again, this is an XRP BTC chart, you're looking at, even with where Bitcoin is priced now, you're looking at double-digit price action easily for XRP. And I'll not be surprised if indeed that is what happens here. So take it for what it's worth, folks, but I just want to give you an update from a few analysts and share with you this latest Bollinger Band report, because it was very meaningful last cycle. And you can see, again, here, I'll pull it up. If you look at, where's that? Yeah, here it is. This is from Steph's Crypto. You can see what happened. Look at how it opened up here. See these red lines? As soon as you get to that point, bam. It did indicate something was brewing. It just did. And I'm telling you, that's happening again. It's just one more metric. How could you not be bullish here? I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.